Hi guys, so I'm now going to model my weekend bride. Again, I do this every week. In kindergarten, it's really good to kind of just a little refresher before we start our writing, just to model it and remember what we're looking for. If you want to go ahead and start your write, you can. I would recommend just watching my modeling every single time, just to make sure it's all fresh in our head and we've got that checklist as well. I'm going to write and say it out loud. On the weekend, I did a Lord of the Rings movie marathon. So a movie marathon means you watch the movie back to back. So Lord of the Rings has lots of different types of movies, like Frozen 1 and Frozen 2. So I watched them back to back. So once one finished, I watched the next one, and then I watched the next one. And it's a little bit of an adult movie, so you might not have watched it. However, your parents probably know that Lord of the Rings, one movie itself, feels like a marathon. So it took a long time. And once I've written that sentence, I'm going to write another sentence, and I would like you to write another sentence on if you had enjoyed it, or if you didn't enjoy it, and why that was. So I'm just going to model the first sentence that I did the Lord of the Rings marathon, but then I would go ahead and write if I enjoyed it and why, and if I didn't enjoy it, why not. And that's what I'd like you to do. And I would like everyone to try and add 2 dazzling details today, at least 2 dazzling details, because I've been noticing that we've been having sometimes not even adding 1. So the challenge for you today is 2. Okay? So I'm going to model it now. Okay, so remember we say our sentence out loud, then we start writing. So on the weekend, I had a Lord of the Rings marathon. So on, I'm going to start. And today I do remember my capital letter. So remember when you're doing your capital letter, it goes all the way up. On the, T-H-E spells the. On the weekend, W-E-K, and on the weekend, I'm going to remember my capital I as well. I went. Oh, no, sorry, I had. See, it's important that Miss Drought says it out loud as well. It doesn't just write the first thing that comes to her head. On the weekend, I had a Lord of the Rings. Now, Lord of the Rings is a title. It's actually a name of the movie, so we actually give it a capital letter. Lord of the I'm going to give it a capital R because it's still part of the title. We know that NG made the sound. Lord of the Rings. Now I've already written quite a lot, so I'm going to read through it to see what the word I want to write next is. On the weekend, I had a Lord of the Rings movie marathon. Okay, so movie, remember? If we don't know that word, we're just going to sound it out phonetically. Ooh. You know that sound? Ooh. E. V. If you know the correct spelling, you can spell it that way. But I'm very happy with that. Movie marathon. Now that is a big word. I might break it up. Almost use a bit like my chunky monkey reading strategy, but that's for spelling as well. Marathon. So I'm going to break it up into 2 bits, or 3 bits. Marathon. That's my TH sound. Marathon. Let's read it to see if I'm happy. On the weekend, I had a Lord of the Rings movie marathon. Perfect. Now, I'm going to stop there. You're going to tell me what you're doing on your weekend. Then you're going to tell me if you enjoyed it or if you didn't enjoy it and why not. So you are going to do 2 sentences today. Okay? And you're going to include at least 2 dazzling details. That's your challenge for today. Now, I'm not going to model 2 dazzling details. Actually, I am going to model 2 dazzling details because why not? So, I've done my period. Really, I should have remembered my dazzling details as I was writing. It's not always good just to add them at the end, okay? I did include what kind of movie marathon it was, Lord of the Rings. But I might just add one more dazzling detail about the weekend on the... Now, what kind of weekend was it? Was it a sunny weekend? Not really. Rainy? I might say gloomy. Now, if you don't know what gloomy means, gloomy is like when it's kind of overcast and it's a little bit dark outside and you don't really feel like going out because it's not very sunny. So I'm going to write gloomy, and I think that's a great dazzling detail. Me. On the gloomy weekend, I had a Lord of the Rings movie marathon. Now I've read it, it makes sense. I've included my period. I actually remembered all my capital letters this time. I've added my dazzling details and all my finger spaces. So now it's your turn. 2 sentences and 2 dazzling details. Nice work, guys.